Hello Stitchy friends, I'm Angelica and this is my channel Rose Red Crafts. It has been about 2.5 months since my last video, so it was time for a Flosstube update. First off, the first thing I need to mention is that I have a tickle in my throat for some reason, and I'm like, can't stop trying to clear my throat like that. And I tried to cough it out as best as I could before hitting play, but I just can't seem to get rid of it. I probably need some fresh air, but it's so noisy outside with the window open, so I just need to kind of tough it out while I film this, and then let some fresh air in after I'm done recording. So I will try my best to muffle any throat clearing or clip it out of the video if I can. So this is going to be a short week for me, so I wanted to make sure that I recorded this as early as possible. It is Monday, May 18th, and then next week is the last full school week for my little, so he does have school the following week after, but it'll be shorter shorter days, and I think he probably has a couple minimum days. But yeah, next week is my little's last full week of school before summer break, and there is a couple of things that I wanted to do before that happens. So I don't want Flosstube hanging over my head that I need to do that. So I wanted to make sure I do this now. So knowing that I needed to record today, I did write down all my numbers a few days ago for what I had been stitching on. And then this morning I jotted down a couple of notes of what's been going on, like highlights of the things I want to highlight that's happened since my last video. Hopefully I was able to get everything. So first off, since my last video, I've worked on 13 whips. I've had 1 new start and 3 finishes. I hadn't intended on having any finishes this year. This was not going to be when I looked at all my numbers, I did not expect to have any finishes this year unless I started something small and it was going to be like a start and finish. So I really wasn't intending on having any finishes this year, but I'll explain that when it gets there. So in the last 10 weeks, I have done 38,291 stitches. So before I show the whips, I just want to quickly go over what's been going on, at least what I can remember off the top of my head this morning. So in March, right after I posted that video, or my last video, I took 2 weeks off from stitching. I didn't do any stitching whatsoever. What I did instead was I finished Flower Delivery, which is right here hanging behind me. That is a diamond painting from Diamond Art Club. If you're not familiar and are interested, Diamond Art Club is it's always been the main diamond painting company that I purchased from. I did purchase from other companies early on in my diamond painting, like the first year I was diamond painting, I did purchase from a few other popular companies just to try out everybody. But at this point, I'm only purchasing from Diamond Art Club, and I've drastically dropped how many I'm actually buying. Last year I only bought 2, and they were both Halloween themed kits. So I almost made it all year without buying anything, but there was 2 kits that I really wanted that was on my wish list, and I just happened to have money when they were restocked, so I went ahead and purchased them. And maybe the year before I had only purchased 1. I don't remember. I know for sure I purchased 1 the year before, but it could have been 3. Anyways, after I finished this one, I wasn't done wanting to diamond paint, so when I kit it down, I did kit up another project that is called Midnight Laundromat, I think. And I think it's from Ivy Dolmore also. But it was a kit that it was an image that my husband liked and got for Christmas 2 years ago, I think. With the way that I diamond paint, I would call it like a medium size painting. Anyways, I had only spent a couple of days on it before I decided to pack it away because I really wanted to game. Gaming is one of the things that I enjoy doing besides cross stitch and diamond painting, and I've really neglected my need to diamond paint, my need to game. So one of my big goals for this year was to balance out all my hobbies better because cross stitch has really like taken over everything that I enjoy doing, and yeah, I wanted to pull back or pull back on cross stitching time and do other things, make time for other things. And so in March, I really felt accomplished in the gaming that I got done, and I so much so that I want to continue this momentum of doing that. So in March, I got caught up on Infinity Nikki first. I decided to start there because that one I was already kind of caught up on. I think I was. It didn't take me it didn't take me too long to get caught up on the main story. What took me the most time was getting caught up on all the side quests. I had let those build up for a while. So I spent probably 2 weeks playing only on Infinity Nikki. And then when that was all done, I had transitioned over to Genshin Impact, and that one took me a little bit more time to get caught up on because I hadn't played since September, I think it was. So back in the summertime was the last time I like really played it. So yeah, I had a lot of content to get caught up on. That one I only got caught up on the main story. I haven't done any of the side stories, so I still have work to do on that. I don't know if it was during my break from Flosstube or if it was something that I had thought of earlier this year, but it was a goal of mine that I decided that this year is the year that I'm going to get caught up on the main story on all my gacha games. These are games that require maintenance every like 6 weeks. New content comes out. Some are limited time, and some are permanent content. And it's impossible for me to stay on top of all of them all the time. Just for the limited, it's just not possible. But the permanent content I need to get caught up on. So I have Infinity Nikki, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Withering Waves. I've decided that I was UFOing Zenless Zero, Zone, what is the total? It's ZZZ. It's Zenless Zone Zero. I just decided of the gacha games that was my least favorite, so I just dropped it, and I'm not going to continue playing that. So I don't want it to take up my time. So after finishing Genshin, I had intended on getting caught up either on Star Rail or Withering Waves. However, a game that I had been waiting on decided to drop late April, and so I haven't missed a day from playing it, but I am completely caught up on the content that was released so far. So now I'm just getting on and I'm spending my energy and collecting my upgrade resources, and then so when I, yeah, so I could build my characters. So I'm all caught up on the content. I'm just working on building my characters up. So it's that the new game is called Neverness to Everness, and or NTE for short. Anywho, that's probably a lot of gaming talk for if you're a non-gamer or don't know what I'm talking about. So I think I'm ready to move on to whips. I do want to mention that first, I'm having issues with Notions. I am using the Notions template from Stitching a Tea. The app has been wonky on my phone. It's been running slow, or it won't load at all. I've tried clearing the cache. That it didn't help. I've had to uninstall and reinstall it on my phone. It full on crashed on me at one point. It was bugging for a while, and then it full on crashed. And then I stressed because I hadn't written my numbers down. Everything, it crashed mid to late April, so a couple weeks ago. It crashed on me. It just would not open at all. All of this was happening on my phone, and I was so stressed that I didn't even think to check my computer, just check it on the computer. But yeah, so I got it working again on my phone. So I have been able to input. I've been able to input my stitching. However, it's still running slow. So I'm afraid it's going to do it again. So I need to try to remind myself to use Notions more on my PC so that I could get an idea if it's if it's Notions or if it's just acting buggy on my phone. So we're going to start with my finishes, and then I will show you my new start, and then we'll just go from there. My first finish, warning, it's a video game sampler, so that's the whip that has the adult language. So this was let me grab my card here. So here it is. It is not, this isn't how I'm going to fully finish it. This is just how it's finished for now. It's on cardstock. No, foam core. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, it's just what I had in stash from an older project. So, video game sampler from Screaming Heart Design. This is it's 211 by 171, and it had 12,437 stitches. I did it on 18 count fabric that I dyed myself, of a combination of pearl gray and royal blue RIT dye. I started this June 1st, 2024, and I finished it March 24th, 2026. And it's 2/1, full cross. So I finished it in March, and I put in 4,658 stitches. Like I said, I took a 2-week break from stitching in March, so I picked this up, I think the 20th, 21st, something like that. I picked it up, and then I just felt compelled to power through it. So it took me 5 days, and I finished it. So I stitched this for my husband. He loves it. We have it. It's the first thing he sees when he walks into the bedroom. Originally, because it was a surprise for him, I had tried to stitch it in a mystery, like a mystery stitch along type of way where I was doing parts of the pattern, but nothing that would give away what it is, similar to how we do in the stiachalongs. But as I got more into it, it got harder for me to do that. And it's one of the things I like about stitching is just mindlessly going with the pattern, just moving and not having to think where I need to move it. So, and it got to a point where I was like, I just give up and I'm just going to work on it how I want to work on it, and then just save certain elements for last. And then, and of course, right when I like was getting really into it, my husband like was sitting in the room while I was doing it at one point. So luckily he didn't realize what was going on. He wasn't really paying attention. So so it was a surprise until one day I just finished it real quick, and then he was about 10 minutes away from being home, and I quickly just popped it onto this piece of board, which is just, it's just painter's taped on just loosely. So, and that's just how it is for now until we get a frame to put it in. After I finished that, I got motivated for another finish, and that is Well Suited by Ink Circles. So for this one, like I said, this is Well Suited by Ink Circles. It is 115 by 115 with a total of 8,333 stitches. 18 count fabric. I dyed myself. This is taupe. I did this 2/1 with mostly the called for floss. I used the called for black, which is Black Sea from Valdani, and the gold is it's Krynic. I did have to substitute the red. They wanted Valdani, but it was out of stock on 123 Stitch, so I subbed it in with some Threadworks called Bleeding Heart or something like that. So I put in 2,106 stitches to finish this off. This was my first time working with Krynic. I was nervous because of all the people that complain about Krynic in the cross stitch community, and it stitched up exactly how I expected it to stitch up. So I'm fine with stitching with Krynic as long as it's done in a certain way. Like if it's lightly in it, not if it's like a lot. I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm fine with stitching with Krynic as long as it's not too much in a piece. It doesn't need to be overpowering. The whip doesn't need to be overpowered by the Krynic. The last finish I have, I wasn't expecting. I just had gotten to a certain point in it, and then I was like, you know what? I could probably add this to my list of finishes. So it is Fish and Chips. This is from Long Dog Samplers. It is 187 by 212. It has 16,454 stitches in total with back stitch. I didn't realize that there was back stitch in this piece until I had started in this corner. Yeah, I started in this corner and worked my way over, and it wasn't until I got to the lighthouse that I realized that this piece had cross stitch or back stitch. So I did the back stitch on it, and then all the rest of the back stitch I saved for last. So this is done on 18 count fabric I dyed myself. I think I used royal blue and charcoal. This is 1/1, and I use DMC 3808, which is a color that I love so much that I purchased a cone of it. Which I didn't need a cone of it for this project, but I was new to stitching still, so I just thought better safe than sorry, and I could have saved that money for something else. I didn't need a whole cone. Anyways, so I started this March 10th, 2023, and I finished it May 15th, 2026. So this is a fresh finish. And I put in over the last 2.5 weeks. So I didn't power through this in the sense of I picked it up in May and decided to finish it. It was something that I worked on a little bit over the last 2.5 weeks. Like I bounced around between whips. I didn't focus on one whip. The first 2 finishes I did focus on those, but everything else that I'm going to share, I would work on it and then I would put it down and pick something else up. So over the last 2.5 weeks, I put in 7,678 stitches. So I had gotten to the 75% mark, and then I decided, you know what, let's just finish this off. So this was my first and only long dog. At the time when I purchased this, a lot of my stitchy friends were working on long dogs and I wanted to join in, but nothing was really speaking to me. So when that one was released, I thought it was perfect. And then I was a little disappointed when I realized it was actually a smaller chart. But it ended up taking me a while to finish it. Next, I'm going to show my one and only new start. This is in my Star Wars bag. Last year, I decided that I was going to work through the entire series of Star Wars patterns from Country Magic Stitch. I purchased them all, so I have them, and each year I will start a new Star Wars chart for May the 4th, with the intention of it being Star Wars week. This year, because May the 4th was on a Tuesday. Was it on a Tuesday or a Monday? I think it was on a Tuesday. Doesn't matter. Because May the 4th was at the beginning of the week, I decided to push Star Wars week from the 1st a little bit later in the month. That gave me more time to play Neverness to Everness, which came out late April. So I was going to start my Star Wars piece on May the 4th and then have that whole week to cross stitch it. So I wasn't really in a Star Wars mood, so I didn't actually start this until May the 8th, and I didn't put in much progress in it at all. Here is my very small start. This is Visit Bespin. It is the same. It's practically the same colors that from Tatooine, which I did last year, but I gave my husband the choice of which one to work on next. So I think because of the color scheme and the fact that there was a new game out, I just wasn't motivated to work on it. And I think I hope I'm holding it the right way. So this is done. So this is 18 count black Ada. I purchased this for another whip that I decided not to do on black. So I had this yard of black fabric. So now I'm doing all my Country Magic stitches on this black Ada. I'm doing this 4/1 half stitch. So yeah. So I only put in 407 stitches. So very small start. I'm hoping that I will get, I thought that I would have time this month to work on it again, but I don't think that's going to happen. So at some point this year, I will try to pick it up and give it a little bit more love, but for now, it's for May, it's not going to get much attention. So I had spent a lot of time coming up with my games for the year, what games I was going to work on. I had cut out all the Facebook group games. I had started to work on, I did spend January in Whip Warriors on Facebook, and then kind of regretted it because I correct me if I'm wrong, but Whipped Warriors is one of those groups where you can't get, it's locked. You can't get into the group for a duration of the year, and then it's only open to people for a short time. I'm pretty sure that that's one of those groups. And so when I seen that there was an opening back in December, I jumped in, and then even though I knew that for this year I didn't want to do those type of games, it's why I quit fandom. And when I say I quit, I left the group. I'm not sure if it was February or March, but I left all of, I can't say I left all of the Facebook groups, but I left a lot of them. I only saved very few Facebook groups or designers. I'm only following very few cross stitching pages on Facebook. Sorry for dragging that out. I'm just double checking in my brain. That's what's going on. So yeah, the only games that I have this year was Flosstube Frenzy, which I chose specific whips for specific creators that I would work on whenever they posted a video. And then I was also playing Monopoly with myself, not with other people, but I had made 4 teams, and they had certain tasks that they had to do whenever they hit go, or made it around the board. However, right after my first team made it around the board, that's when I decided to put my games on pause. And then, so I do intend on going back to Flosstube Frenzy and Monopoly. I have the intentions of doing that, but I'm still taking a break from it for now. All right, so the first whip I'm going to show you is Thistle from Carolyn Manning. This is a Flosstube Frenzy piece for Jessie Marie Does Stuff. I hadn't intended on working on this, but I purchased the floss. So when I started this last year, did I start it last year or this year? I started it in December of last year. When I started this, I didn't have all the floss for it, and so recently I placed an order with 123 Stitch and got some floss for a couple of projects. Because of Bespin, Visit Bespin, I didn't have the floss for it, and I knew that I needed it for Star Wars Day week, and since I was placing an order for that, I figured out how much money I had to spend, and got the floss that I needed for a couple of projects. And then when I was, well, let me show you. Here's where I'm at. So I had, like I said, I hadn't intended on working on this. And then when the floss came in, I wanted to see how far my floss stretched, on, you know, how many stitches I could get out of one of my strands of floss for this. And then so that I could so I knew how much floss to put on the floss drops. Sorry, can't think. So sorry. And since I put in 40 stitches because that's how much one of my strands got, I ended up circling back to it later on, and I worked on it a little bit more. Now I know that this yellow is on the top, so I can make sure that I share it in the right orientation, because I know in the past I've showed it in the wrong. So Thistle got 444 stitches. This is done on 18 count. I very rarely stitch on white Aida. This is 18, yeah, this is 18 count. I very rarely stitch on just plain white Aida, but it just didn't make sense to dye my fabric at the time, because of all the colors in here, and I just felt like it was fine to just be on white. 2/1. I don't know if I said that. I think that's it. I think that's all I have to share with this one. Okay. Next up is going to be Pokemon type chart. This is from Tiny Pufferfish. Pokemon type chart is also on 18 count. Let me move this out of my way. Here is where I got to. So what I did is all these colors. So each label, let me show you. Each label has 2 colors. I'm just going to show you on fire since it's really prominent. Each of these labels have 2 colors, and then it's got a white and a gray for the text. So I just did the 2 colors on everything. And it took me, I could get between 1 and 3 labels done per day when I was working on this. So I did spend a lot of time working on this. The reason is, let's see. So Pokemon type chart, I put in 5,689 stitches. I wanted to see progress on this because now with all that, it's still only at 22.8% complete. There is a lot of this chart is very, very deceptive. It's deceptively large because all of these boxes, not all of these boxes are going to be filled in. There's a few X's and circles in here, so it just didn't feel like it's such a large chart, but it is. So I wanted to see progress. Moving forward, I'm probably going to, if I work on, there's a chance that I might not pick this up again this year. If I do, it'll probably just be working on the lines going that way. And I probably won't get to do these colors until next year, potentially. This was a even though I'm not doing Flosstube Frenzy, I'm still going to let you know when it's a piece that belongs to somebody, or I chose it for somebody, and this is a Flosstube Frenzy piece for Becky's Madness for Crafting. Next is Nostalgic Tarot. Again, another Flosstube Frenzy piece. I chose this one for Black Sheep Meat, but she hasn't posted any videos this year. But I still wanted to get progress on it, so I've been working on it regardless. So this is Nostalgic Tarot from the Witchy Stitcher. Here is where I'm at. So, I have, let's see here, in the last 10 weeks, I put in 1,430 stitches. This feels like it moves really slowly when I work on it, but I do know that I could finish a card in a day if I focus on it. Or a card outline, I should say. I could do a card outline per day. Actually, I think I was averaging 2 cards a day, I think, for towards the end there. So I only have 4 more card outlines to do on the top. You see the blue, that's the bottom of the cards. I just need to do 2 more, and then I need to do the border. I did start the border, if you saw that, this white. I did start it. I had hoped to have the whole bottom done before this month is over, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, this is going to be the rest of this month is going to fly by. I've got things that I need to do, and so I'm not sure when I will do that, but I've kind of been pushing myself to have this the entirety of the border done before the year's up. It's not it's just a stretch goal, so it's not like a done deal goal I have for the year, but it would be nice if I could get the entirety of the border done before next year starts. I forgot to say, this is on 18 count fabric I dyed myself. I used eggplant. This is the pattern that I had purchased the black for, and then decided that I'd rather have it on a dark purple. Okay, next is going to be Alice in Wonderland. This is from Owl Forest Embroidery. It is on 18 count fabric I dyed myself. I think I used camel and charcoal, but it was one of the earlier, when I had just started dyeing fabric, it was one of the earlier ones. So, Alice in Wonderland, I put in 1,746 stitches, approximately, because this is, it's a PDF, but it doesn't go into Pattern Keeper. So it's like having a paper chart. I just have to count. I am at 61.4% complete. If I'm using the numbers that, if the numbers are correct that I have for the total. So, moving forward, I had done the math. Sorry, I'm like flopping around. When I did the math for this last, because I haven't touched this recently, like it was closer to 2 months ago that I worked on this. Actually, I think I worked on it around Easter. Yeah, I picked it up for Easter. So, when I finished it and I did the math, it was about 1,500 stitches per section for what's left. So, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. But the way, because it was a SAL, because it's a SAL, each section is about 1,500 stitches, I think. Pretty sure that's what the math added up to be. So which means moving forward, whenever I finish a section, I could just say 1500. I'm not going to count it exactly. It's about 1500. Because I don't like to, the only reason why I don't like to work on this is because of the counting. I don't want to figure out how much I worked on it. This is something that this is one of my oldest charts. Or, I started this in 2023. So, I doubt that I will finish this year, but it is something that I'm going to want to push for finish soon. Because I'm pretty sure this and Pokemon, Epic Pokemon, are the only charts I have left from 2023. Even though my Epic Pokemon was, it was a restart. I restarted it in 2024. I still look at it as a 2023 start. But, yeah, I think these are the last ones from that year, potentially. I think Sampler 208 is also, but, I'm not in a, there's certain whips that I'm just not in a rush to finish. Like, it finishes when it gets finished. But then there's some that I want to see finished so that I could potentially have it FFO'd. But if you know me, I've never FFO'd anything. Next up is going to be Wings of Change. This is from Wings of Change is from Silver Creek Samplers. Here is where I'm at. I finished the flower, the top part of the flower. I put in 863 stitches. And that was just finishing the flower off. So now I can start working on the stem. This is, I'm doing this 2/2 on 32 count. Fabric I dyed myself. And this is a whip that is intended to gift to my mom, but I am worried about, I've never FFO'd anything, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. I thought I would have FFO'd stuff by now. All right, next is going to be Lectio Divina. This was my new year, new start. This is one of the whips that I purchased floss for, because the way I was working on it, I felt like I was missing too many colors, because I just kitted up from stash, and I just, because I knew I wasn't going to get too far, so I knew I had enough floss in stash to get it started, but I knew I wasn't going to get, I knew I wasn't going to get too much progress on it this year. But it felt like every time I clicked on a color, it was something I didn't have. But then after ordering the floss, I realized that I had most of it. There's just one color that I kept clicking on because I wanted to do it, because it was the last color in the first box that I didn't have. I kept wanting to click on it because it was blank, and I wanted to fill in that box. Anyways, this is Lectio Divina. Here, this is a top left start. I put in 3,059 stitches. This is 2/1 half stitch on 28 count. This is my first time using 28 count. I purchased it last year because so last year when the tariffs started, I panicked and I purchased the floss for most of my full coverage pieces that I hadn't bought the colors for yet. I had like 4 whips that I had 4 full coverage whips that I had only purchased. I had started it without the colors. I was only working on the black until I could afford to get the colors. So last year I did a panic buy and bought all the colors I needed for those whips, along with some fabric for new starts, and they were out of 25 count, so I got 28 count. I still have the other half of this so that I could start something else, and I think I know what I'm going to start on it, but I'm not going to decide until I am ready to start it. Anyways, yeah, I made that purchase on 123 Stitch before they raised the prices for floss, and then after that I didn't make any more floss purchase. 1, because I couldn't afford it. 2, I was stalling until I got my master set complete, because I had that box. I have a master set box, and I wanted to make sure I wanted to finish setting that up before I purchased any floss, so that I wasn't buying colors that I already had, excess of. I wanted to make sure I'm optimizing my floss purchases. So I went the rest of last year without buying any floss, and this year in April, when I was getting ready for my visit Bespin, when I just made that floss purchase, I was the first time I bought floss since then. So obviously 123 Stitch did adjust change their price, so so I did have to pay the increased price. It's only 10 cents, but 10 cents adds up after a while. So it makes a difference. Anyways, this, like I forgot to mention, this is Lectio Divina from Claudia McKinney from Charting Creations. And I started this on January 1st of this year. Next up is going to be No Time Like the Present, which is from Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the 2024 project. Here's where I'm at. Over the last 10 weeks, I put in 6,139 stitches. I got a lot of progress on this, and it's still only at 74% complete. So it is the closest to a finish percentage-wise, but it still has a lot of stitches to go till it's complete. This one's another one for me that's deceptively large. So I did put in 24. This is the first whip that I've ever had that has a year on it. And I know that some people change the year for whatever reason. I went ahead and left the 24 on it so that I remember this is Modern Folks 2024 Sal. And then I'm not sure, is that 2024 in Roman numerals? I'm not sure. Anyways, I this is not something that I powered through. It is something that got picked up a bunch of times over the last 10 weeks. I would work on it, put it away, and then work on it some more, and then put it away. So I've gone back and forth on this. The first time I picked it up, I did these right here. And then another time I picked it up and I thought, you know what, the most boring part of this is going to be the border. So I not only finished the border, but then I decided to make sure I put all the line work. So now the only thing left to do is fill in. So yeah, everything else is going to be like fill in. There's no more line work left to do, except for like the circle in the center, but that doesn't count. This is done on, this is 18 count, and I'm doing this 1/1 on 18 count. So this again, that lets you know that this is something that I started a long time ago, because it's rare for me to start a new project 1/1 on 18 count these days. I have gone over, you know, it depends on the chart that I'm working on, obviously, but I tend to do more 2/1 on 18 these days, but it just depends on the effect that I want. So it's more delicate this way, and I like it. I like the way this looks. What I don't like is this fabric. I don't like the fabric for two reasons. One, because this is so large, I wanted to get gridded fabric. I had never purchased gridded fabric before this. This was my first time having gridded fabric. So it's a gridded 18 count. I'm glad that I did that because I've been able to catch my mistakes a couple of times on it. So, but I am bummed that mine won't be on a pretty fabric like other people's. I also really hate how thin this fabric is. This fabric is very thin compared to what I'm used to for 18 count. It's very, very thin. I thought there was something else I wanted to mention, but I can't think of it right now. But if I can remember, I will remind you, or I will mention it the next time I bring this out. This is a piece that is a Flosstube Frenzy piece that is assigned to Thread Gremlins. But they've only put out one video this year. So it makes me feel less guilty for taking a break when it feels like a lot of the people that I've been watching have taken a break. Speaking of taking a break from Flosstube, I haven't really watched a lot of Flosstube this year until this last few days. Over the weekend, the long weekend, I had a 3-day weekend. I had a 3-day weekend this past weekend. So over the weekend, when I was pushing myself to finish Fish and Chips, I decided to try to watch. I haven't finished, but I started making my way through all the Flosstubers that I follow on YouTube, and watch their most recent video, even if that video is months old, because a lot of people I have not been staying on top of. So I've watched a lot of Flosstube. Sorry if that was loud. I have 2 whips left. Next is going to be When I Think of the ABCs by Puntini. This is the 2024 chart because they do have an earlier When I Think of the ABCs. I'm not very familiar with Puntini, so I'm not sure if I don't know if there's a reason why there's 2 different ABC charts. I do like it enough that I might be willing to do the other one also. But do I need 2 ABC charts? I don't know, but I guess it depends on how long it takes me to get through this one. And this was pretty expensive. This is one of those charts that I seen it released for market in 2024. The 2024 market, I seen it be released or coming soon or whatever. I seen it. I don't remember who I seen it with, but I saw it listed as a pre-order, and I fell in love with it. Unfortunately, it was so out of my price range. I think it was like $75 just for the chart alone, and then I needed to buy the fabric and the floss, so it just got put on my wish list for a while, and then it did go on sale on Puntini's Etsy shop. It was on sale, so I did purchase it for like $20 off, I think. And then I started it on my child's birthday. Or yeah, I started it on. Did I start it on his birthday or his first day of kindergarten? First day of kindergarten, I started it. Because he started kindergarten before his birthday. But he loves letters and numbers, so. Anyways, here's where I'm at. I finally got the what's it called? The border, I guess. So first off, I put in 1,424 stitches. Sorry. I think. I do not know the percentage because even though the charts go into, so I fell in love with the image that I showed that looks like this. It's the model stitch, obviously. However, when you purchase the pattern, it comes in blocks of 4, and the 4 aren't connected. They're 4 individual boxes per page. So each one goes into Pattern Keeper, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to jump around across 5 different patterns. So on my Pattern Keeper, I've got like 5 different patterns that I have to jump around to just to mark off what I'm doing. It also made me really scared to start it on 32 count, because last year for 2025 was the first year that I started on 32 count. So this is 32 count, 2/2 on fabric I dyed myself. I think I tried to go for the same look as, I might have tried to go for the same look as Alice in Wonderland. Or maybe this is the one that I mixed camel and taupe. Maybe I mixed those two up. I don't remember. Do I have it written down? No. No, I don't. So, and this is Lugana, not, I haven't started anything on linen. Last year, like I said, last year was the first year that I started on 32 count Lugana, and I have a few whips that I did on this fabric. So, the only thing else I want to mention about this is I did everything. So last time I had all of this done, and so I worked on all of this. However, when I picked this up, I started at mushrooms, and I worked my way down, and then I went to this side and I worked my way down, and then I think I did quail, and I worked my way across, and then I realized that it wasn't lining up, and I figured out the problem was on mushroom. This is getting too heavy. So I had a mistake. The mistake was in the word mushrooms. Let me show you what happened, because I haven't fixed it yet. Oh, I wasn't seeing it. Okay, so in the word mushrooms, this line and this line do not line up, or did not line up, right? So MUS in mushroom is half a stitch bigger than the rest of the word. So, it was half a stitch off. So, but everything else here was in line, and the MUS was off. So I made a executive decision that this is wrong and not everything else. So I made sure to count down from this side and make everything line up. So I didn't frog this because it didn't make sense. You can't tell. I just had to fix it at the bottom. Or I had to fudge it at the bottom. So I could frog this out and fix it, but the quail I don't think is going to be affected by this. So I don't think the quail will be affected by it. And if it is, then I'll fix it. However, if I'm wrong and it was not if I was wrong and the MUS is in the right spot, then everything above then everything in these boxes will be half a stitch off. They'll be half a stitch. I think that's what it was, is that everything on the top would be half a stitch, need to be half a stitch adjusted. So like I said, I'm hoping that this was the mistake and then everything else will be fine. Otherwise I may have to make some executive decisions when it gets to that point. I made sure that I didn't make any year goals on any of my whips this year. But every time I work on something, I do have a idea of what I would set a goal for each project while I'm working on it. But in a way, it's almost like wishful thinking because I didn't write it down. If I didn't write it down, if I didn't say it in my video, then it doesn't count. So that being said, I would be fine with that project being put away for the rest of the year, and it probably won't get picked up again. Or it might get picked up again when my little goes back to school for his first day of first grade, or for his birthday. But I would be content because I was able to get that done. I would be fine with not picking it up again. Okay, the last whip that I worked on is my most recent. I was working on this last night. So I had to take it off the Q snapped so I could show you. And I'm at a stopping spot. Like I finished the color that I was working on, So I could potentially just pack it away and not work on it anymore, but also I kind of want to keep working on it. So this is Lost Soul from Selina Fenech, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is retired. It was a story keep. And when I was making the graphics, I know that I showed it on the screen, but I've never said it verbally on one of my videos that it is expanded color. I totally glossed over that after all this time. I've been working on this since, when did I start this? It was a birthday start in 2024. So I've been working on this for 2 years, and I only just realized during my WIT parade that it is extended color. Extended color, expanded color, one of the two. I don't know what the difference is between that and super max color or max color or whatever. Anyway, I guess it doesn't matter, but I put in 2,648 stitches. I am 16.2% complete with this chart. So, but this part of the building, let me fold it over because this is where I've worked on. I haven't done anything on the other side. So this building is you can see where I stopped right here. That's because this is going to be the railing. This is the top of the railing, and the railing is in 310, so it'll be a lot of color blocking right here. But this is completely filled in. There is no, it's completely filled in, so that's really satisfying. And then also the page break is somewhere right here, which means I officially have my first full page finish. This is, even though I did most of the page, there's still some that needs to be filled in here. I think there's still some things that I need to do, so that first page is not, the first page I worked on is not fully complete. This is the first full page finish. So after I finished this, I still had some time to stitch, so I decided to start working on some of this blue. So this blue right here, all of this blue, I did last night. So I kind of want to keep working or filling this in. I kind of want to keep filling this in and work my way this way, but again, I don't know. So I either will pick this up again tonight, or it's going to be put away for a while. Haven't decided. I will make that decision later. My little gets out of school in an hour, and then we have his appointment after school, and then after that is dinner time, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. One of the reasons why I wanted to push through on that chart is because I have a desire to hit certain percentage milestones this year on my full coverage, and I am getting the itch to work on all of my full coverages. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this Flosstube update, is because I have the urge to pull out some of my full coverages, and those aren't these ones that I've already used. It's the ones that I haven't touched yet. So not to make this video so much longer than it already is, I wanted to, because I would like to do a mid-year WIT parade, and if I do that, that's just next month. So I don't want to share everything now when, if I'm going to share everything in in a month or two. So for Lost Soul, I've done 25,640 stitches total on that. To reach 25%, I still need to put in another 14,000 stitches. And that's not reasonable for me right now. But if I put in another 6,000 stitches, then I'll hit 20%. Because I think it's like 1,600 stitches just for 1% on that. It is 1/1 full cross on 25 count. I didn't mention that. So it's very slow going. My other full coverage pieces are half stitch and they move faster. I am torn on whether, because I got the colors for those charts or those pieces, so I kind of want to start in on the color, but I also kind of want to get to certain milestones on the piece with the 310 before pulling out the color. I don't know, but I kind of feel like I want to figure that out this summer. Like, I think this summer is going to be like a full coverage focus for me. It might not be, but I just feel like that's what's going to happen. I also have obtained some fabric, I obtained some Christmas fabric last year, and then I just purchased some Halloween fabric. I think I got it on Mother's Day, actually. Was it Mother's Day or was it after Mother's Day? When did I buy that fabric? It was a week ago. So I bought some Halloween fabric last week. And my intention is to make some project bags for my seasonal whips. Right now, a lot of my seasonal whips are sharing project bags, and I would like to give them their own. However, all my project bags are on the large scale. I'm showing you this one, but this isn't one of the ones this is one of the ones I bought. But all my project bags are large. What I would like to do is make half this size. So I'd like to make in bulk a bunch of half-sized project bags for my Halloween and Christmas whips. And the sooner the better. So that's kind of my goal to do next week. If I would like to do it next week while my child is in school, so that I could really spread out all the fabric and, iron and cut and sew. I would like to do that next week while he has a full week of school. However, if I'm not able to do that, then I would just like to have it done before the summer's over so that I could have everything in their own bags before the holidays come around. So that's really the only plans I have moving forward, is to spend some time on my full coverage pieces, make some project bags, and what was my other one? Oh, and make a mid-year whip parade. Yeah, I would like to do a mid-year whip parade. Because I'd be doing it in the summer, it will have to be done while my little is home. So, and moving forward, I do record while he's home. It's just obviously easier to do while he's at school. So those are my plans for now. Also, I don't know when I'll come back for another video. It may be that whip parade if I get it done. I'm not sure, but I do like the idea of taking a break. Even though I'm checking in right now, it's not the same thing as coming back weekly or every 2 weeks or even once a month. Like, it's been 2.5 months since my last video, and I didn't mean to go this long without checking in, but also I like the idea of just like putting life on pause, or putting Flosstube on pause while I enjoy other things. So unfortunately, this video was a lot longer than I had intended. Um, but if you stuck around this long, then you like the longer floss tubes. Um, so I'm going to let you go, and then I will be back whenever I feel like I have content to share, because obviously I am still stitching even though I'm taking a break. My taking a break was a lot like, let's say you wake up and you're like, I am just exhausted, I'm tired, I don't, I'm just gonna call into work. I'm not gonna go into work today. I'm going to take a rest. I just need a day to rest, and then afterwards, you know what? I feel like doing all my chores. I was productive on my day off and I got all my chores done, but I still feel like I I rested. Um, if that makes sense. That's what it feels like. I'm taking a break off from Flosstube, but look at all this project progress I got done. But yeah, so you'll most likely see me for my mid-year whip parade. That's what I feel like. I'll be back then. Um, but unless something comes up and I want to share something beforehand. But I'm going to let you go. So get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you next time. Bye.